Hello everyone, this is the Algebra 1 Regents from 2024. We're going to run through it as quickly as possible in this video. We'll start with part 1. A ball was launched in the air and its height above the ground was recorded each second as shown in the table below. So based on the data, which statement is a valid conclusion? So we're just going to take a look at what's going on. The ball lands on the ground at 4 seconds. Well, at 4 seconds, it is still 11 feet in the air. So that's out. The ball reaches a maximum height of 11 feet. No, that's out. Maximum height is 75. So we're going to talk about maximum height is right here at 75, and there we go. The ball reaches a maximum height at 2 seconds. Yep, 2 seconds in. This is time. Maximum height right here. So 4 is your answer. A tour bus can seat at most, this is very important that you read, at most 48 passengers. So at most 48 passengers. So we're talking about less than or equal to 48. So just based on that, 1 is gone and so is 3. Less than or equal to, less than or equal to. An adult ticket costs 18 and a child ticket costs 12. The bus company must collect, and here we go again, at least $650 to make a profit. So at least $650 is greater than or equal to $650. So this is less than or equal to $650. 2 is your answer at most. So that is it. I don't have to check anything else out. $18 for the adult ticket and $12 for the child ticket. That is it. So which equation is always true? Always true is 1. Remember the rule. When you're multiplying the same base and the same base, you add the exponents. And then I put the rule right there. When multiplying the same bases, keep the base and add the exponents. The rest of them just do not make any sense. So that is your answer. The expression, there's 2 different ways to do this, right? But the word equivalent comes up. Put it in the calculator. So if you put this into the calculator just like this, I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to press y equals and press clear. I'm going to have negative 2 x squared. So you can minus 2x. You can actually do this by hand. It is not a big issue, or it shouldn't be. But I'm just going to show you that you can do this by putting this into the calculator just like you see it, and then matching one of these up. So we'll see exactly what's going on here. I'm going to put x squared in plus x minus 4. And you could see, let's see if the graphs match. I have the first, the one they gave me, and choice A. Nope, not even close. We're going to clear that out. And this is out. That's out. All right, so now we're going to go to y2. We're going to put x squared in, minus x, minus 7. Easy way around it. Nope. That is not the answer. We're going to have x squared plus 7x minus 4. It has to be one of these. There's the first graph. There's the second graph. That's out. So it has to be that fourth graph. Let's see if it matches. It should. X squared plus 7x minus 7. Graph. One graph. Two graphs. And you could verify it by looking at the table. All the same numbers. 4 is your answer. To do this by hand, you would do distributive property. So distributive property is this. And I'm just going to do this quickly. So this is negative 2x squared plus negative times negative is a positive. That is 4x. And then negative 2. And then you just bring everything else down because it's an addition sign in the middle. And then you're combining like terms. So negative 2x squared plus 3x squared is x squared. So I use those two. And then 4x plus 3x is 7x. So I use those two terms. And then negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. And that's by hand. And we're going to put or calculator. Now the next one is definitely a calculator question. Just put it in the calculator and you could see which one is rational or irrational. So we're just going to see, we're going to put negative 2, second function square root of 12 plus square root of 100. That looks irrational to me. It just put it directly into the calculator and then just look at the number. And there it is. So number 6, just remember the solution. If you don't want to solve this, then you go ahead and substitute your answers in and see if they equal 14. If they do, then that's the answer. But I am going to solve it by hand. Minus 2 on both sides. This cancels. You get 5. And then I'm going to do distributive property. 4x minus 20 over 3 equals 14 minus 2 is 12. I'm going to multiply by 3 to get rid of that fraction. That's exactly what I do all of the time. I'm going to go over here. This is 4x minus 20 equals 36 plus 20 on both sides. And let's see what that comes out to be. This is 4x equals 56. You divide by 4. Divide by 4. I don't know why I put 14. And 56 divided by 4 is 14. That's why I put 14. Again, you could put this directly in to the calculator. Substitute. In calculator. So if you put 14 in here, the 4 times 14 minus 5 over 3 plus 2, then your answer would be 14. And that's how you know that that would be your answer. All right, so number 7, which best models the increase on an island, the rare breed of rabbit? Doubled, that is the big word. Its population each month. It is not a constant. This is not constant. So that means it is not linear. It's either exponential growth or exponential decay. If it doubled the population, it's a growth. So 3 is your answer. What is the degree of the polynomial? First off, I'm just going to put this in standard form. And no, you don't have to put this in standard form to answer this question. So the degree is 3. It is the largest degree in this polynomial. So 3 is the answer. Remember the constant. There is no constant. The leading coefficient is 4. And that leading coefficient is 4, like I said. All right, so let's go to number 9. We're talking about the zeros. The zeros, that is, we're talking about the x-intercepts. So, calculator. All right, we're going to grab the calculator and we're going to put this like this so we can see. We have y equals. I'm going to clear out the last mess that we had there. You grab your x, you open parenthesis, you're going to put x minus 5, close parenthesis, open parenthesis, 3x plus 6, and we are looking for the roots, and I'm going to put this a little bit bigger. We're going to press graph, and you see it's negative 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. So negative 2, 0, and 5. 2 is your answer. All right. And you could do this by hand. And by hand, you would just set each one of these terms equal to 0. X equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. And 3x plus 6 equals 0. And you would solve each one. That's solved already. This is x equals 5. And you get 3x equals negative 6. And you get 3 divided by 3. And you get x equals negative 2. So that's how you would do that by hand. Very simple to do by hand. And those are your 3 roots. By the way, it has 3 terms, so that means it has to have 3 roots. So you could cross out 3 and 4 right away. All right, what is the y-intercept? Y-intercept of the line that passes through the points negative 1, 5, and 2, negative 1. So you could cross out, remember, the y-intercept. When the x is 0, the other number is the y-intercept. So this can't be 5, and it can't be negative 1. So it has to be either 3 or negative 2. So, like, plain and simple. Like if you're going to go the easiest way, sketch the graph or graph it. Graph the 2 points. If you graph the 2 points, you'll see where the y-intercept is. It is simple as that. Or you could figure out the slope and then put it into the point slope formula, or just put it into y equals mx plus b. So again, you could figure out the slope of this line, which is, this is x1, this is y1, this is x1, and this is x2, and this is y2. So simple as y2 over y2 minus y1, and x2 minus x1. That is m equals negative 6 over 3, which is negative 2. Then you could take the y equals mx plus b, and you just take one of the points. I'm going to take the second point, right? So the y is negative 1 equals m of negative 2, and the x is 2. I'm taking that second point, plus b. And I'm going to do negative 1 equals negative 4, because negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 plus b. And I'm going to add the 4 on both sides, and I get b equals 3. And b equals 3. You'd get the same thing if you graphed it, and you would get the same thing. Remember, you could use the y minus y1, and this is given to you on the reference sheet, x minus x1. Remember, the reference sheet is here, and there it is, the linear equation point slope. When you have a point and the slope, that's what you could use, that point slope formula, or, we just gave you 3 different ways. Okay, Nancy's just been hired for her first job. Congratulations, Nancy. Her company gives her 4 choices. 4 choices. So she can collect annual salary over 8 years. So each function represented below is the 4 choices, that annual salary in thousands of dollars, where T represents the number of years she is hired. Which plan would have the highest salary in her 8th year? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the calculator and just input all 4 of these. And then I'm going to go to the table and going to pick which one in the 8th year pays her the most. So here it is. I have all 4. You notice that I put the X in where the T's were. Okay. So if you don't have an X as the variable, it's okay. Put the X in for what other variable that they give you. So now I'm going to press second function table. I don't even care about what the graph looks like, but you could see right now that the 8th year, we're going to go down to 8. Which function pays the most? This first one that I put in, 281, this one, the 2 to the x power plus 25, this one right here pays the most. That is A of t. That is how you do that one. Number 12. The third term in the sequence, third term, is 25. The 5th term is 625. So what we're going to have to do here, 1, 2, 3, the third term is 25. 4, 5, 625. So which number could be the common ratio? So we're talking about a geometric sequence. We're not talking about addition or subtraction. It is multiplication. Nice. Multiplication. So we're going to jump here, multiply a number, and then multiply that same number and jump there. The numbers are increasing. They're increasing. So that means you can't multiply by a number that's less than 1. The number has to be greater than 1. The common ratio must be greater than 1. So that means this is out, this is out. So it's 5 or 25. 25 times 25 is already too much. So when you were talking about 25 times 25, like what? So how would you get there? 25 times 5, that would be 125 times 5, and then times another 5 would be 625. So 5 is your answer. This 25 would be way too much. All right, so number 13, the box plot. Love the box plot. So I'm just going to put min, Q1, Q2, which is the median, Q3, and max. What is the interquartile range? The interquartile range. So IQR for short is Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 is, let me see here. This is 110 and this is 60. So 110 minus 60. So that is 50, my friends. And 50 it is. All right, 4 quadratic functions are represented below. All of these quadratic functions, I love them. Which has the smallest minimum value? So just remember, we're looking for the smallest minimum, not maximum, smallest minimum. So I know that this is the minimum right here. Let me get that in red. This right minimum equals -4. This minimum is -5. This minimum, I don't know. So we're going to put that in the calculator. It's the only way. Well, not the only way, but the best way. X squared plus 6x plus 3. Graph it, minimum. So we're going to talk about, let's make this bigger, a minimum of -6. Graph. Calculator. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing here. Graphing and that calculator. We're going to make use of that calculator. We're going to clear that out. We're going to put the parenthesis and x minus 3 inside the parentheses, and we're going to square it -7. We're going to graph it, and we're going to look at the table of values. So what is the minimum? Looking at this is -7. So which one has the smallest? Well, that one is this one. Minimum is 7. So 1 is your answer, and that is it. So the equation that represents this sequence, let's just see what's going on here. We're just looking at this, and in the sequence, this is 14. So let's just say that we're subtracting 3 each time. Right? Listen, you probably didn't even need to know that, but it is what it is. So like that's it. You know what the common difference is. It is -3. So the way I would do this is to just put this into the calculator just like I did. -3 plus -2 times the x minus 1. Then I would just check to see if the y's were starting at, say, -2. And no, they don't. -2, -5, -8. Nope. So that's not it. So I'm going to clear that out and put -2 plus, and then I'm going to put -3 in parentheses, and then the x minus 1 in parentheses. And I'm going to do the same thing, second function graph. And then let's see if -2, -5, -8, -11, and look, negative 14. So all of these x's, the y's, negative 2, negative 5, negative 8, negative 11, this is the answer. And really simply, that's how I would do that. The dot plot below shows the number of goals that Jessica scored in each lacrosse game. So the one thing that I'm looking at here, mean versus mode, mean, median, mode, median, median, mean. Mode, you could tell, is 3. So 3, I'm going to put 3 above each of these because that's pretty easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 0 in 3 times, 1 in 3 times, right? 2 4 times, 3 5 times, 4 twice, and 5 twice, and 6 once. And you could see that there are 20 numbers that I have in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that is good. So I have them in. Now I press stat once again. I go over to calc, 1 var stats, to get the mean, which is 2.5. So I'm going to put 2.5. Is that greater than 3? Nope. The median, let's look at the median now. The median is 2.5 and the mean is 2.5. Are they equal? Yes, they are. So that means 2 is your answer. And that's how I would do that one. Very, very easy. Just put it into the calculator. Okay, so this one, we're asked to describe the graph g of x with there. That's nice. G of x is right here, and f of x is x squared. This is you're comparing this one, the g of x, to the f of x. So just remember, put the f of x in first. So that's what I did. And now I'm going to press graph. There's the f of x. There is the g of x. So the g of x is narrower, you could tell, and it's translated 1, 2, 3 to the right. So it translates. So it's narrower. Wider? No. Beth said narrower and shifted left 3 units, not left. Carl said the graph is wider. No. Don said narrower and shifted 3 to the right. 4 is your answer. So just take a look at your calculator. You could see exactly what that is. All right. So number 18, Dave took this long bike ride. The graph shows his trip. What is the average rate of change? Just remember, average rate of change is just rate of change. But they're telling you that, which points to use. But it says on this trip. So that means the whole thing. So we're just going to talk about 2 points. 0, 0. That's the first point. And then this one right up here, this point right here this is 55. And this right down here is, from that point, it looks to be 5.5. So the second point is 5.5, comma 55. So now we're just going to do x1, y1, x2, y2, labeling, and we're going to substitute in y2, which is 55, minus 0 over x2, which is 5.5 minus 0. So really what you're putting in here into your calculator, we're just going to put alpha x, it's 55 minus 0 on the top, that's the numerator, and denominator is 5.5 minus 0, and it's 10. So m equals 10. This is miles per hour. Which expression is equivalent? There's that word again, equivalent to all of this. You could do this by hand, or you could just do this in the calculator, and match. So we have the calculator, we're just going to go and put that directly in as y1, always as y1. Then we're going to try to match the graph x minus 5 in parentheses, open parentheses, 2x plus 7, open parentheses, we're going to delete that, minus x plus 5. And then close parenthesis. We're going to go down to y2, and we're just going to choose number 1, and we're going to get 2x squared minus 2x minus 30. And we're going to press graph, and let's see if this, nope, it does not, so this is out. We're going to go back to y2 and clear that out, and just put 2x squared minus the 2x minus the 40. And we're going to press graph, and let's see if that matches. No, it does not. Now I'm going to press y equals, go down to y2, clear it out, 2x squared minus 4x minus 30. And we're going to graph that, and that doesn't match. So clear that out, 2x squared minus 4x minus 40, and we're going to graph it, and that does match. This is your answer. And you could check the table out, second function table. You could see all of the points match right there. So your answer would be number 4. So the functions f of x and g of x are graphed on the set of axes below. At which solution to the equation is f of x equal to g of x? So they're just talking about this point right here and this point right here. That's the point, and that's the point. So this is 1, negative 3. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 5. So what are they talking about? When this y is equal, when is f of x equal to g of x? So they just want to know when what x's will these be equal, right? So we're just talking about f of x and g of x intersect when x is 1 and 5. And you could see it right there. That's the answer, 1 and 5. When babysitting, Nicole charges an hourly rate of an additional charge for gas. She uses this function right here to determine how much she charges for the babysitting. The constant term this function represents. Here's the constant. So the constant is equal to 5. So that is the constant. That's the additional charge for gas. That's what that is, the additional charge for gas. So 1 is your answer for that one. Number 22, when solve for x, so we have to solve for x here. In terms of a, the solution is this right here. So rewrite it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is try to get the x's over on one side. So we have 3x minus ax minus 7 equals 5. Then I'm going to add 7 to both sides to get the constants over to the other side together, like terms. So we have 3x minus ax equals 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You like how I did that? All right. So I'm going to move that up just a little bit. Do you notice that both terms have an x? So I'm going to factor out the x just like this. And then it's 3 minus a on the inside. So I factored out the greatest common factor equals 12. Then when I go and solve for x, I have to solve for x. I'm going to divide because this is attached by multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. I cancel that out and I get x equals 12 over 3 minus a. 12 over 3 minus a is 2. And that is your answer. And then just 2 more, multiple choice. Remember, we are talking about miles per hour. So this South Africa ran 400 meters in this many seconds. Which calculation would determine its average speed in miles per hour? So that is what I put on the side. And I'm going to cross cancel the units. So m, there's no other m to cancel. There's no other seconds to cancel. Miles, hours, this does not work. M with M, that cross cancels. Seconds and seconds do not cross cancel. There's nothing for miles. There's nothing for hours. That does not work. M cross cancels with M. Seconds cross cancels with seconds. Then there's nothing left but miles over hours. And that's exactly what we want. 3 is your answer. If you just check out seconds and seconds, that doesn't work. Nothing else cancels. And that one's out. 3 is your answer. Which function has a domain of all real numbers? Domain of all real numbers in a range greater than or equal to 3. So we're going to grab our calculator. That's what we do. And we're going to press y equals. We'll clear this mess out. And we're going to go up to negative x plus 3. So if we have negative x plus 3 and we graph it, and we have to see a domain of all real numbers, that domain in the x side, the left and the right, is all real numbers. Now, is the range greater than or equal to 3? No, the range is all real numbers also, so that is out. And that is it for number 1. Let's go and look at x squared. Y equals, we'll clear that out. We're going to put x squared plus 3, and we're going to press graph. And let's take a look. This is a domain of all real numbers. Now we're going to talk about the range greater than or equal to 3. Yep, that is 3 right there, greater than or equal to 3. And we have an answer here that has all real numbers and a range greater than or equal to 3. And that ends the part 1 multiple choice. We're going to go into part 2 next. These are all open-ended questions, and part 2 questions are worth 2 points each. For part 2, here we go. We have to solve algebraically. So you know that when you have parentheses, you're going to do distributive property. It's 5x minus 10 less than or equal to 3x plus 20. Then in order to stay out of the negative, get the smaller x over to the larger x. And it's 2x minus 10. Bring it down. 5x minus 3x is 2x. And add 10 on both sides, like so. This cancels. 2x is less than or equal to 30. I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. X is less than or equal to 15. That's it. Number 26, evaluate. This is the input that they're giving you, so that's the x. So g of x, g of negative 3, equals negative 3, in parentheses, to the third power, plus 2 to the negative 3 squared, minus a negative 3. So g of negative 3 equals, and then I'm not even going to put this into the calculator where like the substitution is like goes with the 3's and everything like that with the negative 3. All I'm going to do is press y1 and I'm going to go x to the third plus 2x squared minus x. And since I put that in right there, I could go to the table. And do you see the g of negative 3? I'm going to go to negative 3, and my answer is negative 6. And that's my answer. Number 27, given the relation right here, the x is missing. Do you see the x is missing right there? State a value for x that would make this relation a function. So we're just going to have to just pick an x that is not part of this function already. So I'm going to pick 3. And explain why your answer makes this a function. And that's what I put right there. Every x value must have its own unique y value. I picked 3, but you could pick anything that is not already chosen for the an x value in this function. So number 28 says a survey of 150 students was taken. So we're just going to put 150 down right here. It was determined that 2/3 of the students of this 150 play video games. So I'm going to go back to the graph, clear it out. 150 times 2/3. And that's 100. So 150, all right. 150 times 2/3. And that is 100. And that is students who play video games. So that is 100, 2/3 of them. So this is 50 because 150 minus 100 is 50. So let's go back up and see what else they give you. Of the students who play video games, 85 use social media. 85. And that means this has to be 15. 100 minus 85. That's it. Of the students who do not play video games, 50. 20% do not use social media. So 50 times 0.20. I don't know why I put that. So we're going to do 50 times 0.20 is 10. So 20% do not use social media, that's 10. And then 50, so 40 do. So now all you have to do is just add across 125, and this is 25. And that's it. Everything is good. 85, 15, 100, 40, 10, 50, and 125, 25, and 150. That is all they ask you to do. So that is it. Complete that table. So this one, nice, difficult question. Completing the square, exact values. So I'm just going to put this down. X squared plus 10x minus 30 equals 0. So we have, in completing the square, we have to get A, it's 1, B is 10. And then we have to move that constant over to the other side. So we're just going to go like this, and we're going to put x squared plus 10x. This cancels, equals 30. So now we're going to take B and divide it by 2. So 10 divided by 2, 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Then we're going to take 5 and square it, and that's 25. We're going to add that 25 onto both sides of the equation, completing the square. This becomes two binomials where you have an x and an x, and this is the answer there. X plus 5 and x plus 5 times x plus 5 equals 55. Now we're going to put this in exponential form. Squared equals 55. And we're going to square root both sides. This cancels with this. We have x plus 5 equals plus or minus square root of 55. Remember, when you take the square root of a number, you have both positive and negative roots. This cancels, then we have x equals negative 5 plus or minus square root of 55. And this is the exact value. And that is it. That is completing the square. For number 30, remember, we're looking at this. Let's go for the GCF first. So GCF, let's see which number, the largest number that goes into 20 and 45. So I'm going to pick 5. And they both have an x, so there is the greatest common factor. I'm going to divide this by 5x if that helps. But remember, the 5x goes outside. And we are going to put, so now this is 4x squared minus 9 and 9. That's it. So factor completely means this is the first step, and then it's 2 steps. So there's 2 steps. This is the difference of squares. All right, so we're going to break that into 2 binomials. 2x and 2x. Plus 3, difference of squares, minus 3. And that is it. That is factored completely. And there we go. Positive 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. We are finished. 30 is done. So is part 2. Part 3 coming up right now. So 4 questions in this part. Each question will receive 4 points. So let's graph the following equations, the system of equations on the set of axes below. This is a trinomial, so you know it's going to be a U-shape. This is a linear function, so you know it's going to be a straight line. So it's going to be a U-shape and a straight line. They're probably going to ask you, state the coordinates of all solutions. All right, there we go. So we're going to go, and they're both equal to y, so pretty easy. So we're going to put this in to the calculator as x squared minus 3x minus 6. And we're going to press graph. And there's the U-shape. So we have our whole graph there. We have our calculator. Now we're going to press the table because we need some values. Negative 422 cannot fit, but I think negative 312, I think that can fit. So negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Negative 3, 12. Negative 2, 4. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 1, negative 2. And 0, negative 6. One, negative 8, and 2, negative 8. 1, 2, negative 8. 3, negative 6. 4, negative 2. 5, 4. And the last one that you're going to fit is 6, 12. And you just connect those points. All right, so that is the quadratic there. So now we are talking about a linear function. We have x minus 1. That's easy. And we graph. And there's that line, that red line going through. And we have to just take some points from it. So this is negative 4. Well, we're just going to go down to negative 10. Let's see what this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is a negative 15 graph. So negative 15, negative 16, you can't graph, but negative 14, negative 15, you can. Negative 14, negative 15 is all the way down here. Negative 14, negative 15. Now, since I know this has a slope of 1, I'm just going to go up 1 and right 1, just like this. It's like that. The y-intercept should be negative 1, and it is. And there's the other point of intersection. And that is it right there. Take your ruler, and we're going to connect those points just like that. Remember to put arrows at the ends. And we're going to graph, we're going to label it x minus 1, y equals x minus 1. And we're going to state all the coordinates. So that is your graph. We're going to state the coordinates of all solutions. So this is -1, -2. And we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 4. And that's it. Not a bad question for a part 3. All right, here we go. You know that this question will be a part of any, any Regents. That it's been a part of every Regents for the last, I would say, 10 years. So you're going to put in to L1 and L2. This is going to be your L1. This is going to be your L2, and you're going to get your linear regression equation. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's pretty easy. Then go over to L2, put 185, 150, 90, 50, 25, and 5. And all the numbers match, and we are ready to go. We're going to press Stat, go over to Calc. We're going to go down to 4. Make sure linear regression is see how, like, I'm not seeing the correlation coefficient? That means the Stat Diagnostics has been turned off. I'm going to go down to Stat Diagnostics, turn it on, press Enter. And it's on now. I'm going to press Stat, go to Calc again, press 4, press Enter 5 times. Now the correlation coefficient is there. So this is y equals ax plus b, which the a is the slope. So it is -37. And it says to the nearest 100. So we're going to have y equals -37.57 x, and then plus 215.67. So that is the linear regression equation. Remember, they wanted a linear regression equation. That means you have to put y equals to the nearest 100th. And now we're going to go down to the correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient to the nearest 100th as well. So we are going to go back to the calculator and put down r equals. R equals is -0.98. And the last question is basically state what this correlation coefficient indicates about the linear fit of data. And the correlation coefficient suggests a strong negative correlation between x and y. That is for full credit every time this question is ready in there. So be ready for it, okay? It's not ready, but it's there every single time. Use the quadratic formula to solve for the equation. So the reference sheet has the quadratic formula on it. X equals -b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that's what you have to write down. So x equals -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in order to use the quadratic formula, you have to make sure that you're labeling correctly. A is 3, B is -10, and C is 5. This is your A, this is your B, this is your C. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in negative B. The negative B is a negative already, so it is going to be 10, plus or minus. Negative of a negative is positive, so we're going to put that in as a positive right there. So it's negative 10 squared minus 4 times A, which is 3, times C, which is 5. It's a 3. So this is your setup with the numbers in it. The thing is, it says simplest radical form. So you have to remember, this is not rounding to the nearest tenth or hundredth. You have to basically say, okay, I am going to now basically find the discriminant. I'm going to write this down, 10x plus minus square root. I need the number that is underneath the radical. So I'm going to clear that out. I'm going to put negative 10 and then squared minus 4 times 3 times 5. And that is basically all the numbers underneath the radical, without the radical. So that is 40. And that's all over 6. Nice straight line, 6. So before we do anything, we are just going to go x equals 10 plus or minus. We have to simplify that radical into a perfect square and a non-perfect square. So 44 times 10 is the simplification there. And so 4 times 10 equals 40. 4 is the perfect square. So simplest radical form, you get 10 plus or minus 2, because square root of 4 is 2, square root of 10, and that's over 6. And just leave it like this. This is simplest radical form. And that is it. That's your answer. For number 34, we are going to graph the inequalities, and this is 3y plus 2x is less than or equal to 15. Notice that I moved all the way over to the left because you're going to have to solve for y. And they don't give you much space. I'm going to put the negative 2x first, and then the plus 15. So notice I'm going to divide by 3. And it's a positive, so I don't have to flip the inequality. It's y is less than or equal to negative 2 over 3x. And then 15 divided by 3 is 5. So that's 1. The other one is y minus x is greater than 1. I'm going to add x to both sides. This is very easy. They went easy on you there. Y is greater than x plus 1. So now I am going to go and bring my calculator into the mix here. And make it nice and small. And here's my calculator. I'm going to press clear. I'm going to press y equals, clear everything out. and it's less than or equal to. I just want to make it a little bit bigger here, and I'm going to press enter, and less than or equal to, less than. Then we press OK. And then we put in negative 2 over 3x. Negative 2 over 3x. Alpha x. Negative 2 over 3x. And I think it's plus 5. Yep. And we press enter. And there it is. It should be a negative slope. It goes down from left to right. It crosses at 5. So that is it. I'm going to go to negative 10, negative 9, 11. No good. I can't fit it. Negative 6, 9. So negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 9 is up here. I'm going to go to the next whole number, negative 3, 7. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And notice, if you know slope, it's down 2 to the right 3. Down 2 to the right 3. Down 2 to the right 3. There's your 5 y-intercept. Down 2 to the right 3. Down 2 to the right 3. Down 2 to the right 3. All right, since this is or equal to, we are going to put a solid line. Just a little trick here. Perfect. A little trick. Remember, you do have to label. This is less than, right? So if you put your hand on the line, if you chop it, basically, less than is below, greater than is above. Less than is below, greater than is above. So below is less than, and you have the calculator to show you that it is below, that is being shaded below that line. And we are going to shade it this way, below. And then we're going to take this next one and we're going to put y is greater than. So we're going to go back and enter. We're going to put greater than. Okay, enter. And it's x plus 1. This is a very easy one to graph. And there's the double shaded area. You can see it. Here's the line that goes up from left to right. It does cross at 1 and it's shaded above. So I don't know why I got rid of that. So negative 10 and negative 9. Negative 10, negative 9 is down here. And it has a slope of 1. So again, we're going to go up like this. Rise of 1, run of 1. Not looking at the calculator for a slope of 1. Right, the y-intercept is 1. I could see it's there. Now this is just greater than. So that means that we are going to put a dotted line. Because it is just greater than, not greater than or equal to. So we're going to label it y is greater than x plus 1. All right, and greater than is above the line. And look, we're graphing and shading above the line. So I'm going to go like this, and there's your double shaded area. You can see it. And don't forget to put a giant S in that double shaded area. All right, state the coordinates of a point in the solution to this system. It gives you a choice to state a point instead of asking you if the point satisfies. So we're going to go -1, -2, -3, -4, 2. So I'm going to go -4, 2. That is clearly in the double shaded area. And there is my answer, -4, -2. I'm sorry, -4, 2 is a solution that satisfies both inequalities. It lies in the double shaded area. It satisfies both inequalities. And that ends that question right there. All right, so part 4, which a lot of people have a difficulty doing here, because this is the most difficult question. The question will receive, let me get my face out of the way, 6 credits. Just remember, no work. You'll receive only 1 credit. So we're just going to put this. Courtney went to a coffee shop to purchase lattes and donuts. One day, she spent a total of $15.50 on 4 lattes and 2 donuts. The next day, she spent a total of $18.10 on 3 lattes and 5 donuts. And that's it. So the cost, the X represents the cost of 1 latte, and the Y represents the cost of 1 donut, right? A system of equations. So that means it has to be 2 equations. So one day, that is, one day she had 4 lattes, 4x, plus 2 donuts equals $15.50. The next day, she spent 18, which in 3 lattes and 5 donuts, and that equals $18.10. Courtney thinks that 1 latte costs $2.75 and 1 donut costs $2.25. Is Courtney correct? And it says justify your answer. So we're going to just take 2 of the first equation and then the second equation and substitute in. So latte represents X. So we're going to do 4 times 2.75 plus 1 donut, which is 2 times the 2.25, and then that equals $15.50. That's supposed to equal $15.50. So we're going to bring that back up, and we're going to just go and put this in. So we're going to put 4 times 2.75, and then close that parenthesis, plus the 2 times 2.25, and close that parenthesis. Does it equal 1550? Yes, it does. So 1550 equals 1550. So, but we have to try this next one out. 3 times the 275. I don't like the way that came out. She bought 275. And then plus 5 times the donuts. She bought, Y represents donuts. So it's 5 times 225 that she thinks. And then that's 1810. Let's see if that works out to 1810. If it does, then she's correct. But something's telling me that she's wrong. 2.25. All right, 3.7 plus 2.5. 1950 does not equal 1810. Courtney is incorrect. Explanation point. So that is everything right there. Proving. So now it says use your equations to determine algebraically exactly what the cost is of a latte and the exact cost of one donut. So that's why I kind of knew that if Courtney's correct there, those are the answers. So you're not going to get a question like that because where Courtney's correct, because then they don't have anything else to ask you. Right now they have all right, now they have, all right, go ahead and solve it. So this is plain and simple. No, it's not. It's not plain and simple because guess what? The numbers do not go into each other. So do you see they're not multiples of each other? So what I'm going to do is I am going to multiply the top one and the bottom one by different numbers. I'm going to multiply the top by -3. That'll make this a -12. And the bottom by just a +4. And that'll make this a +12. Just be careful because you have to do distributive property twice here. And you have to make sure that you're doing it to all of the terms inside the parentheses. So -3 times 4 is -12x. -3 times -2 is -6y. And then -3, let me move this over, -3 times 1550 is -4650. And then I'm going to do 12x because 4 times 3 is 12. And then 4 times 5 is 20y equals, and then 4 times 18 10 is 7240. So this cancels. See, now the x's cancel. That's what you wanted. And then this becomes 14y equals, and then well, I'm just going to bring this back up, and I'm going to put 72, all right, whatever, -46.50 plus 72.40. And you see it's 25 I'm going to divide that by 14. And this will give me the price. So 25 divided by 14 is 185. And that was Y. So they said Y was the cost of a donut. So now I have to get the X. So if that is a donut, then I'm going to have to pick an equation that would be easy to solve for, and they're not easy to solve for. So we're going to just put 3x plus 5y equals 1810. So this is 3x plus 5 times $1.85 equals 1810. And this is 3x plus, and what is 5 times 1.85, close parenthesis, enter, 925 equals 1810. You minus 9.25 on each side, and this cancels, running out of space. 3x equals 1810 minus 1810 minus 9.25, and that's enter, this 885. And you divide by 3, x equals grand total 295. And that's per latte. And you could check this to see if that, you're correct, but I'm not going to do that. That is all the work for a part 4 question. This is exactly what they do in this part 4 question, where they have something very difficult, multi-layer question, different questions, at least 3 parts that you have to work at, and that's it. This is a system of equations where you have 2 equations, and none of them, like, they didn't really do you any favors here. There's different ways to do this. So don't think this is the only way, but I chose to cancel out the x's by multiplying the top equation by a negative 3 and the bottom equation by a positive 4, knowing that I would get negative 12x and a positive 12x, and that they would cancel. And that is it for the Regents. Just remember, you have the reference sheet at the end, and you also have a scrap graph paper, just in case you get one of those questions where, like, they're asking you what the y-intercept is of 2 points. You could just go ahead and graph them. All right, just much easier than doing anything else by numbers. Just put the y-axis and the x-axis, graph the 2 points, draw a straight line. You have a ruler, and it'll cross the y-axis at a certain point, and one of those points will be your one of your answers. All right, so that's basically it, and we finished an entire Regents in 1 hour and 25 minutes. Not terrible. Just go back, check your answers, be very diligent. Make sure that you're checking using the calculator and all of that. Use your reference sheet when you need it, and that's about it. Okay, hopefully that video helped, and I'll see you next time Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.